I say to them, you are paying money to be with me, really. You are taking time of your life. You have sent this message into the universe that you need help. But I cannot look at you and play your little role of feeling disempowered, of not having been responsible for whatever it is in your life. So with much love and much compassion, I still need to say those few truths to them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be truthful either. I cannot sit there and watch somebody playing the victim and say, oh, shame, little one, oh, how sad, I can't go, I can't go down that little slippery road, because then I would be even more disempowering for this person.
Right.
So I have to remind them, hey, don't play that role with me, that is not who you are. You can play the victim with your husband, you can play the, whatever role at work, but you cannot do that here. Here, you came here for me to remind you of your own perfection. You came here for me to remind you of your own power. And so I start there, with deep love for them, and I hug the people, and, I really cross all the barriers, never mind the penetrating the energy, but I really embrace them and shake them and say, what I have to say to you, it's not going to be perhaps what you expect, but that is what I need to tell you. That is what I need to remind you. You make choices that put you in here, and you need to review your choices. You need to take responsibility. That's the key word. We cannot continue to play the game of pointing a finger. We have to see how the Creator created our biology. Each time you point a finger, look at it, there is 3 others pointing back at you, So we need to always go over that, But I think people are also, very often I found, Lance, as we go along, and this evolution is becoming so extraordinarily fast. People sit there and say, I know what you're going to tell me, How did I allow myself to go into that place? I say, no, I'm not going to tell you that. You are saying it yourself because you are already awake to it. What I'm going to say is, how do I get out of it? We have this beautiful interactions because it has to be done with love. I can't be there to judge them really in any way or form whatsoever. So, but I need to still say a few truths, shake it a little bit, and make them realize that they have the power to change. And as much as they have the power to create, albeit most of the time, obviously, unconsciously,
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about traveling in the dream time, because one of your experiences, actually several of your experiences in your book, talk about how you actually met somebody in your, before you actually met them. You were outside your body and you saw the pictures of them and you knew them and where they were. And years later, I think one of them you saw and talked to, and you knew that was the person that you had seen in your vision or dream. Do we all do this with or without our awareness?
I think so, yes. I think we all do this, and I believe, like the Aborigines in Australia and many other indigenous peoples throughout our beloved planet, that the dream world is a parallel reality, a parallel universe. In fact, an interconnected one to the awakening reality that we experience. And I've had so many such experiences. One of the ones, I know you speak about this lady that I saw under the bus stop in my dreams, and I went to give her healing and try to give her help, and then eventually I see her arriving in my practice one day. That happens to me quite a lot. But, that happens to me, and then I have the remembrance of the dream because I am so lucidly able to be out of body. So I suppose that in that sense as well, I am very blessed with the gift of being able to realize that I am sleeping when I am sleeping and awake when I am awake. But I see those interconnected realities as one. I very often have found, for instance, that if I cannot say something to someone face to face, or because the person would not be either ready nor receptive for what I have to say, I find that I can say it to them telepathically with a great ease, and I would be able to say it even more with greater ease if I move into the sleep state with that intention. So I have very often, and for many, many years now, learned to go into my sleep state with an intention, say, let me go and visit this person, or have a heart-to-heart discussion with this patient and help them to progress further, because I feel that when they're sitting here in my proximity, they perhaps distracted with who I am, how I speak, my accent, my hair, whatever the case may be, and then I am not penetrating them. I'm like facing a sort of a zombie character. And so knowing the perfection of their being as souls, I then try to relate to them at that level, both telepathically and then in the sleep state. And then I had this feedback that allowed me to write these experiences in the book, like the lady in Paris that I gave healing to, and then she felt me and saw my eyes on her fingers. And this lady also that I helped, that you mentioned on the book. But also I do it for my own sake. For instance, that is why I shared when I went through periods of pain and periods of sorrow and disconnection, and the sense really that my years were going, and I was entrapped in all kinds of responsibilities, financial, economical, work, and so on, and I wasn't doing enough of my healing, and I asked my spirit, take me on a vacation tonight and really let me have some form of connection, that I know that I am loved and that I feel nourished by the entire universe. And I share that, you will recall, when I go to the source of the Ganges River, and I'm placed there under that sacred water, and I'm bathed in it. And when I wake up, I am entirely, totally soaked wet, including my hair. Do you remember reading that?
Yes. Beautiful.
That for me was one of the most powerful experiences ever, because for me that was so sacred that I could literally take my own air waking up and drink the few drops of water that was still in my hair. That is something you can never forget, never. And especially for someone like me that is not, I am not a person who sweats. Johannesburg, where I live, is almost 2,000 meters of altitude. My house, according to GPS, is exactly 1794 meters above sea level. So we've got normally a dry hair, we don't have great humidity. Even so, with all the millions of plants and trees that we have planted over the years, we are changing for the better, the climate of this city. In those days it was dry. So, I mean, even if you sweat, you don't sweat that your hair is dribbling water, But that is how I came back from that parallel experience and reality in my dream state. And so when I speak like this, Lance, it is truly from experience of being able to go into those two realities simultaneously. And it is such an extraordinary privilege and such a blessing that not all the words of gratitude in the entire universe could ever encompass how it makes one feel, to experience something like this and to be aware of it.
I definitely get it. You were in speaking about water. I'm going to segue into something that a friend of mine mentioned to me. She actually called and left a message on my machine. She's been taking pictures of orbs. She just fell into it and has been photographing the most amazing orbs and mentioned swimming with dolphins. And I thought I would, ask you if you've had any experiences with either of those subjects.
Oh, yes, plenty. But sometimes, let me tell you the truth, I see orbs, with my physical eyes open. and I see them everywhere, all around me, and around the trees, and around people. And also, as the years go by, I have come to this wonderful realization that my own pineal gland is vibrating and opening and expanding. And I am starting to see interdimensionally with the clarity that I do not see with my own physical eyes, because I wear glasses, you know. I have myopia, a little bit short-sighted. And I am starting to see interdimensionally so wonderfully and so clearly. And it is the most wonderful experience to actually be able to see interdimensionally. And as opposed to when I was younger, I would sort of feel spooked out or be scared or think, oh my God, I'm hallucinating and I don't even take any substance to help me along the way, you know. And now I feel so comfortable seeing interdimensionally. And of course with the dolphins, you know that I have been to Mozambique many times, swimming with them. Well, correction, 2 or 3 times. Not many times. But I did when I was a child. So for me, the dolphins and the sea was the playground of my childhood, really. But in the past times that I went, since I live in South Africa and since I am a sort of a mature lady, I have been back and approached the dolphins, not like I would in my childhood, where I would probably look at them just like another element of the sea that I took for granted, but with the knowledge of what they represent to us on planet Earth. You know, they are the light workers of the sea. They are holding the grid of our seas in place, the dolphins, the whales. So if we were to really, truly create an organigram of the higher forms of consciousness and divine intelligence operating through creation on our planet, we would have to put humans perhaps much below the dolphins, and in my estimation, perhaps even beyond the trees, because, you know, those are forms of consciousness that are so extraordinarily pure and powerful and healing that we need to actually review how we have been taught to put ourselves on top of the self-made organigram, where we think that that's it, you know, we are the greatest of God's creation and everything else falls below us. Because, in fact, having done this, that has given us like carte blanche, you know, to break, destroy, rape, and contaminate our environment beyond repair. But coming back to Mozambique, let me tell you something. The first time I went with the intention to go and share in their space as a sacred moment for me, that I spoke to the consciousness of the dolphins, and I was in a little group that I convinced to do with me a meditation beforehand, and while we sat in the boat, we sang, you know, beautiful songs, because, you know, dolphins are expressions of joy and happiness. So we wanted for them to have sacred sounds, Om Namah Shivaya, you know, this kind of sound. And here we were sitting on this big rubber dinghy, and we were about 12 or 15 people. And we started to raise our Homs and Om Namah Shivayas, and we started to see them sending first little balls of air. All around us there was this beautiful little balls, you know. They were, you know, responding to us. And by the time I jumped into the water with them, they encircled me. An entire pod was encircling me, some 8 of them. And you know that dolphins have this extraordinary ability to come straight at you, and literally they are scanning your body from beginning to end. And when they use those sounds, which are truly sacred sounds, even so science may call them sonars or whatever, you know, or ultrasounds or undersounds or infrasounds, whatever the terminology is, they are actually sacred sounds. They will do that resonating in front of you at particular points of your chakra system, and you